Hello everyone, Paulo P13 Let's try this again. I could restart. Nah. Hello everyone, Paulo P13 here, and welcome to today's video. Perfect. Today's video, I am doing another Alliance War guide. And today, the team I'm breaking down is an older team in the game, and I have made this video 3-4 times now, but things keep changing, so I keep remaking the video. And I'm hoping this is the final version. I have a lot of faith, hence I'm leaving that intro in and I'm not recording anything else. Definitely great work. But the team I am talking about today is the Avengers. And what does this mean? Because there are a lot of Avengers in the game. It is just a base Avengers team. I am going to have a non-Avenger character on it to talk about, but I'm just going to quickly go over all the Avengers here and just say if I count if they're considered or not. I'm not considering Black Panther because he is best fit on another team. Agent Coulson is definitely an Avenger, but he is with my Fury Shield on defense. Definitely the right choice to do there, so I'm not going to count that. Scarlet Witch is with Supernatural, Fury with Fury Shield, War Machine with Power Armor, Vision with Power Armor, Falcon with Power Armor. Technically, I don't actually use Vision on my Power Armor team, which is going to change things a bit. But anyways, I use Vulture there. Different fun fact. Captain America is definitely going to be on my Avenger team. Iron Man, Power Armor. Thor, up until now, was on my Avengers team. So that's going to have to change because, well, Thor is going to be on the Asgardians. So I'm going to talk about a few other ways of doing this. Then we have Black Widow, definitely an Avenger. Hulk, you can definitely use as an Avenger. He is one of the good options. You've got Ant-Man, and he is an Avenger, and I'm probably going to throw him on this, and Hawkeye. Okay, so those are the most important Avengers. The way I used to run this involved two other characters. One other character who is not an Avenger but is a Shield character, and this is Quake. As a lot of you guys are very familiar with this team, this is the old meta of Captain America, Black Widow, Quake, two other characters, let's say Thor and Hulk, which is what I ran up until like a couple days ago. Or not a couple days ago, a while ago with the Asgardian buff and Hela coming to the game. I'm just working on getting a feel for my Asgardians, even though they're not all buffed, so I'm putting them together. And to fill out one of the spots, I put Hulk there. But Hulk is definitely a good fit on the Avenger team. So if you're not wanting Thor there, you can run Captain America, Black Widow, Quake, Vision, Hulk, Hawkeye, and Hulk. But what I am going to do is a bit of a hybrid Avenger team. And I'm going to have two non-Avengers. One is still Quake, and the other one will be Wasp. So the team I'm kind of going to talk about is Captain America, Black Widow, Quake, Ant-Man, Wasp. Why this team? Well, I think that they are actually a very good team. Not the most elite team in the game, of course, but they are a middle-range team that not everyone, but a lot of people have most of these characters available and relatively built up. As you can see, my power levels are very different between my Captain America and my Ant-Man. And let me go find my Wasp. Let's see. I guess she'll just be a blaster. I believe my Wasp is a blaster. There we go. My Wasp here is only level 55, so she's definitely not as strong as the rest of the team, which is a big concern is my power gap. However, I'm running this team because they have a lot of control, and they can use multiple abilities that work well together. So you have Captain America giving the defense up, the taunt, and the ability block. He has a dispel. Black Widow can steal buffs, not clear a taunt, and she can speed up the team, and that works really well with Quake's ability to slow down the other team. And then she can stun and apply bleeds, which is huge. Quake has the slow, has a dispel like Captain America, and she can ult, hitting everybody with AoE action and doing offense down, which is good to help your team survive. Then you have Ant-Man, who also can steal some buffs like Black Widow, Ant-Man who can give slow like Quake, and Ant-Man who can ability block like Vision. Ant-Man's kind of like a hybrid little character that's kind of a blend of a lot of the hits of other Avengers characters, but without the damage. I like Ant-Man a lot. A lot of people say Wasp is the better character between Ant-Man and Wasp. I personally prefer Ant-Man, but they work really well together. Wasp has a nice basic. When Ant-Man steals buffs, he gives it to Wasp, so she has that. Her special can stun if she's dodged, and she spawns with an evade with Ant-Man, so there's a stun, like Black Widow, and her ult is AoE damage, and even hits people in stealth. And she can dodge, and so can Ant-Man, so that's a really nice combination there. a lot of control, just a lot of nice little things that they do. Now, I'm going to try and run this team on Blitz, but I'm at a very high tier of Blitz, and like I've already said, this team is not very balanced, so I don't foresee this going particularly well. But as I do it, I'm going to try and talk about other things regarding this team and why I like them. Let's see, actually. First, before I go into that, I'm going to actually tell you the team I do run in Blitz. And because Blitz is a little different, you don't run the same teams in Blitz as in War anymore, because Coulson and Shield Medic stay together in all situations. And my Coulson and Shield Medic are on defense in War with the Fury Shield team, but they don't work as well there. So in Blitz, I run Fury Shield, sans Coulson, sans Shield Medic, so I have Trooper and Operative. But in Blitz, I just kind of throw them onto this hybrid team, this Avengers team here, and it works really well. But for this Blitz battle, I'm not going to run this team, but I do believe that to be the best Avengers Blitz team. But I'm going to go find Ant-Man and Wasp, which might take a bit of scrolling here. Definitely going to take a bit of scrolling because they are not very built up, as I've mentioned. Hopefully I don't just scroll past them. There's Ant-Man. There's Wasp right next to each other. That's nice. So again, this dropped the team power by like 50,000. So maybe we'll get better matchups. But yeah, it's a fun team to use. It's a good team. Don't use it against the defenders. The one thing is you do kind of need to find a good matchup, and I'm going to discuss that while I'm doing this battle. Okay, so the way to use this team is pretty simple. You start with the speed up, then you get a taunt, and then you slow down who you want to slow down. Well, actually, Wasp goes first, so you do some damage to who you want to do some damage to. I'm going to go with Quake first. Yondu is a bit annoying. Now you have the choice of doing AoE minor damage and slowing everyone, or doing an ability block. I'm going to do an ability block just to give my team a little added break from any damage coming in, kind of slow them down a little more. But anyways, so the main thing about this team is you have to pick the right fights. The way that I kind of got a hang of it was any team that predates the Avengers, like meta, like not the new teams that got all big and strong, but anyone that was from before that point, they are good matchups. Any teams that are not really well put together, like kind of a little hybrid team, kind of like the one I'm fighting here, is a good matchup. And some other good teams, like I'm getting destroyed. Just the power difference is a bit too much on this tier, and my power gap between my own characters is not ideal, like I've mentioned a couple of times. But some good teams that they actually do well against, if you're going to use the Avengers on offense, which I don't necessarily think is the only way to play them, but it's the way I use them. They are good on defense because they're pretty simple, but you do have to use a decent team. Yeah, there we go. I lost, kind of like I thought I would. But you have to use a decent team against them, so they can do pretty well on defense. They're not the best, and I think you can pull out 8 better defensive teams without costing you too much on offense. So maybe not the best for defense. I like using them on offense. They're usually like my 9th team to attack with, admittedly, so not the greatest team. But what they do very well is they defeat Kree. They can punch up decently well against Kree teams, and they can really punch up massively against Hand and against Mercenaries. So if you see any of those type teams on defense, they're a good team to go against. And they work well against Kree because of the speed up and the slow on the Kree makes them much easier to beat. Now, I do have to specify, you cannot have Captain Marvel on that enemy Kree team. They will destroy you. But it can work against a Minerva, but you have to consider there being a Minerva. The most frustrating fight I've done is Minerva, Kree Oracle, and Ronin. It's just a lot of healing, and eventually it just outlives your team. So be careful of that matchup. But overall, they work really well against the Kree, and I believe that to be the most efficient use of the Avengers in War. So if you see an Avengers team on defense, bring a newer team. It works very well. What I tend to do is my Fantastic Four is not overly built up. So they're like 140, 150,000 in War. Maybe a little higher now because I just built up my Invisible Woman. But with that, I can punch up 100k, 150k against Avengers. So I wait for the really big Avengers team, and then I just take them down with my Fantastic Four on a massive punch up. So you can use a new team for really, really big punch-ups. So if you're in an alliance and you have a member that has some of these good teams, but they just aren't built up yet, you can use them to take down, let's say they have like 100k Fantastic Four. That might be able to take down 200k Avengers. So that is the most efficient way to go against them. Kree, you can probably take down defenders if you're using them on offense, Avengers, but hand is probably not a good idea. Don't use old teams and try not to use too many hybrid teams or teams that are really slow. They do not go well against the Avengers. Now, I know a lot of people do another strategy is they put the that Avengers hybrid with the Captain America, the Black Widow, the Quake on defense, and then they throw, I don't know, Winter Soldier and Captain Marvel there. So you get the military, it's kind of like a War Avengers team, I think is what some people were calling it. And that's a bit different. I don't personally use that because I think you can make a really good Captain Marvel team with even less. And I think you can use your Avengers rather well on their own, and they can serve their own purpose in war. They're not the most important team. They're not like the key cog that's going to win everything for you, but I think they are good enough for the middle battles that they can be a kind of team that if your whole alliance learns to use well, can actually push the needle in your favor in a war. And that's what I think the Avengers should be used for. That is kind of my plan. But again, don't use overly slow teams against them, and they do really well against slow teams because that speed meter difference becomes even bigger. I'm not sure if you guys remember, but you use this against a tech team. You slow down Kingpin, that Kingpin will never take a turn. It's crazy. So, a lot to consider there, but that's my opinion on Avengers. I like using them on offense, and I like using them on those mixed teams, those hand teams, those mercenary teams, or those Kree teams. This team I think is 150k in war, and I use it on 180, 190k Kree teams, and it usually works really well. If I don't kill all 5, I'll leave 1 Kree with like red health because I messed something up. So I think there's a lot to consider here, but I think that's the most efficient way to use your Avengers in war. Let me know your thoughts on that down in the comments, or you can join my Discord. There's a link to that in the video description, and you can tell me what you think about the Avengers. If you think I made a mistake. Again, Thor is a good fit, but I'm going to be using Thor in my Asgardians team when that comes out, so I figured that wouldn't be too helpful. And a lot of things just casually kept changing and changing and changing, so I kept having to remake this video, so it was really delayed. But, so yes, Avengers use on offense, pick out those older teams, maybe a Kree team, and use them for the middle range fights. And if you see an Avengers team, try and find someone in your alliance that doesn't have the massive meta teams, but has them being built up, so a really small Fantastic Four team, a really small Power Armor team, can do a lot of damage against this team. But don't use your big teams and don't use slow teams. That's my final input, and I hope this helped, and I hope you enjoy this. And as always, I'm here to help.